5 best places men over 60 should look for love and companionship. You've crossed 60, and now you're wondering, is it still possible to meet someone new? The answer is yes. Love and companionship don't end with age. They just show up in different places and often in ways you never expect. The truth is, many men after 60 feel unsure about where to start. The world of dating has changed. People meet differently, and it can feel like you're out of place. But if you're watching this video, this is a great message for you. In fact, there are places where genuine connection still happens, where the focus isn't just on romance, but on laughter, shared values, and real companionship. Welcome back to my channel, it's Vernon again. Today, we're exploring 5 of the best places men over 60 can find love and meaningful connection. Companionship doesn't fade with time. It simply changes shape, waiting for you to notice it again in the most unexpected places. Before we dive in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on love, relationships, and starting over after 60. Let's uncover the real spaces where love still happens, sometimes when and where you least expect it. Number 1. Community volunteer activities. You'd be surprised how many love stories begin with a simple act of kindness. Sometimes, connection doesn't come from searching. It comes from showing up. You join a local food drive, help at a shelter, plant trees with strangers, and suddenly, you realize you're not as alone as you thought. There's something deeply healing about giving back. At our age, we've spent decades building careers, families, reputations. But volunteering lets you build something softer, a sense of belonging. When you're standing side by side with others, folding donated clothes or serving more meals, the walls that usually keep people apart begin to fade. No one asks about your past, your income, or your losses. They see your hands, your smile, your effort, and sometimes that's enough to start something real. Volunteering also teaches you to notice again, to pay attention to small gestures, to laughter that breaks the silence, to the way compassion brings out the best in people. And when you meet someone in that space, someone who's there for the same reasons, there's an unspoken understanding. You both value something deeper than surface attraction. You both know what it means to give without expecting anything back. If you've never volunteered before, don't let that hold you back. You don't need experience to start. You just need willingness. Begin with something small. Maybe it's reading to children at the library, helping serve meals at a local shelter, or simply joining a neighborhood cleanup day. Pick something that feels natural to you, something that speaks to your heart rather than your schedule. You'll find that the hardest part is just showing up once. After that, faces become familiar, smiles grow warmer, and soon, you're no longer the newcomer. You're part of something meaningful. Sometimes, that's how connection begins. Not with words, but with shared purpose. Love. After 60 isn't about starting over. It's about returning to humanity, to presence, to the quiet joy of connection. Community work gives you that chance. Sometimes, the right person doesn't appear when you chase love. They appear when you chase purpose. And once you find purpose, you're ready to find people who share it. Which brings us to the next place. One that rekindles curiosity and growth in a way you might not expect. Number 2. Adult learning classes and educational programs. There's something profoundly attractive about curiosity. It keeps the mind young and the spirit alive. After 60, the classroom looks different. It's no longer about chasing grades or careers. It's about rediscovering parts of yourself you might have set aside long ago. Maybe you've always wanted to paint, learn photography, study history, or even take a cooking class. not to impress anyone, but simply to feel alive again. When you walk into a room full of learners your age, something special happens. The pressure disappears. No one's competing. No one's rushing. You see people laughing over mistakes, asking questions freely, sharing stories about their lives, and suddenly, learning feels like connection. In these spaces, conversations flow easily because they're built on shared curiosity, not small talk. You're not trying to prove anything. You're simply learning side by side. I once met a woman named Linda in a local literature class who told me, "I didn't come here looking for anyone. I just wanted to feel inspired again." A few months later, she found both inspiration and companionship. It reminded me that the best relationships often start when you're focused on growing, not searching. For those who feel hesitant to join, start with something simple. Many community centers and universities offer short courses for seniors, from art to technology to philosophy. You don't need to be an expert. Just walk in with curiosity and let it lead you. At this stage of life, connection often finds us when we're expanding, not retreating. Growth has a certain light to it, one that naturally draws people in. When you step into a new class, open a book again, or challenge yourself to learn something unfamiliar, you send a quiet message to the world. You're still alive inside. Because when you invest in learning, you're not just adding knowledge, you're reclaiming vitality. You're showing that curiosity didn't retire when you did, that you still have questions, passions, and the courage to start again. And that kind of energy, calm, grounded, but full of wonder, is magnetic. People feel it. They're drawn to it. If you could take any class right now, just for the joy of it, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what sparks your curiosity. Sometimes, that quiet confidence is exactly what draws the right person in. Next, we'll explore another kind of space that blends passion and companionship even more naturally. Number 3. Senior-focused online dating platforms. It's funny, for many men over 60, the idea of online dating feels strange at first. We grew up in a world where love began in cafes, churches, workplaces, not on screens. But the truth is, the world has changed, and connection has changed with it. What hasn't changed is the human need to be seen, understood, and cared for. Online dating isn't just for the young, it's for the hopeful, for those who still believe that connection can find its way back, even after years of silence. Many men think these platforms are crowded with people chasing attention or casual fun, but that's no longer the case. On senior-focused platforms, people show up not to impress, but to connect. They're not looking for competition or perfection. They're looking for someone who understands what it means to have lived, lost, and still want to share laughter over morning coffee. You'll meet people who've walked their own paths, widowers, divorcees, lifelong singles, all carrying stories, all still hoping to be understood. And when two people meet there, what forms isn't just attraction, it's recognition. A sense that you've been through life too. You know what matters now. And while it might feel awkward at the beginning, remember this: every connection starts with courage. Whether it's sending that first message, uploading your photo, or writing something honest about who you are, it's all an act of faith. The key is to be authentic. Don't try to sound younger or hide your story. Your journey, your scars, your humor, that's what makes you magnetic. Mention what you truly enjoy: early morning walks, fixing things around the house, reading by the window, or Sunday coffee. Those details matter more than you think. They help the right person find you. And of course, patience is part of the process. Not every message will turn into something lasting, but each one is a small step toward Connection. What matters is that you're out there again, open and present. For those feeling unsure where to begin, try starting with platforms designed for mature adults like Silver Singles, Our Time, or eHarmony's senior community. They're built with your generation in mind, where communication is slower, more genuine, and respectful. Love After 60 doesn't care where it finds you, whether it's a park bench, a classroom, or a message notification. What matters is that your heart is still open enough to say, "I'm ready." Now we move from the digital world back to something deeply human. Number 4. Hobby groups and special interest clubs. Sometimes, the best way to meet someone isn't by looking for love. It's by doing what makes you come alive. That's the beauty of hobby groups and special interest clubs. Whether it's photography, hiking, golf, gardening, or classic car restoration, these spaces allow you to reconnect with your passions, and often with people who share them. At our age, conversation flows easier when it starts with something real. When you talk about the things you love, your eyes light up again. And that spark, that quiet enthusiasm, is often what draws people in. You're no longer a stranger trying to impress someone. You're simply yourself, doing what feels natural. My friend Chalamet joined a small weekend photography club about 10 months ago. At first, he said he just wanted something to fill his Sundays, a reason to get out, take pictures, and talk to people again. But one afternoon, while setting up his tripod near the lake, he met Sinrel. She laughed because they both tried to capture the same bird in flight, and neither of them got the shot. After that, they started sharing lenses, then coffee, then stories. What began as a hobby slowly became companionship, steady, quiet, and real. Sometimes, love doesn't arrive with fireworks. It just walks in, softly, holding a camera and smiling back. If you've never joined a hobby group before, start with curiosity. Look for local clubs, community boards, or online meetups for seniors. Try something you've always wanted to do, even if it feels new or uncertain. You're not there to perform, you're there to belong. And when people see your genuine interest, friendship and warmth naturally follow. The magic of these spaces lies in how they bring out your truest self, the version of you that isn't chasing, proving, or performing. When you're lost in something you enjoy, whether it's painting, playing music, or tending to a garden, you stop thinking about time, age, or expectations. You're just present. And that presence, calm, joyful, unguarded, is what makes you most magnetic. People can feel when you're genuinely content. It shows in your smile, your patience, your ease. You're not searching for love with desperation. You're attracting it with authenticity. Because when you're happy doing something you love, you radiate warmth, and warmth is irresistible at any age. So, what's something you've always wanted to try but never had the time for? Leave a comment below. Maybe it's time to finally begin. We together explore a place where connection runs even deeper in faith, compassion, and shared values. Number 5. Religious and spiritual communities. For many men over 60, joining or returning to a religious or spiritual community isn't just about worship. It's about belonging, about coming home to a rhythm of life that feels steady and familiar. These spaces remind you that you don't have to carry everything alone. You walk in, sit down, and for a while, the noise of the world softens. No one asks who you were, what you've achieved, or what you've lost. You're simply welcomed as you are, in this moment. And that's the quiet beauty of it. In these communities, people don't gather to impress each other. They gather to exhale, to share gratitude for another sunrise, to pray for strength through another night, to be seen not for what they've done, but for who they are. It's a gentle reminder that even after 6 decades of living, we're still learning patience, forgiveness, tenderness. In a world that moves fast and often feels disconnected, walking into a church, a temple, or a meditation hall can feel like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. You see familiar faces, exchange warm nods, maybe share quiet prayers, and slowly, something begins to shift. You're not just part of a congregation, you're part of a circle of care. Faith, in any form, creates a gentle bridge between souls, one that doesn't need grand gestures or perfect words. It's in the simple things: staying after service to stack chairs, joining a Bible study or meditation circle, or lingering over a shared cup of tea when the room has grown quiet. These are the small spaces where hearts open naturally, not out of need, but out of recognition. In these moments, you see kindness reflected back to you, a smile that feels familiar, a conversation that carries warmth instead of expectation. No one's trying to impress or perform. People come as they are, carrying their stories, their losses, their quiet hopes. And when compassion meets compassion, something tender begins to grow, a sense that maybe you've both been walking toward this moment without even knowing it. And even if love doesn't appear right away, peace will. You'll feel lighter, more open, more ready for whatever comes next. Because when your heart is grounded in something greater than yourself, it becomes easier to trust that companionship will find you in its own time and in its own way. Now, as we close this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what all these paths have in common, not just the search for love, but the rediscovery of life itself. You know, when we talk about finding love after 60, it's not really about searching for a person, it's about rediscovering life itself. Each of these places we explored today, volunteering, learning, hobbies, faith, even online connection, they all share one thing in common. They pull you back into the flow of living. They remind you that love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes, it comes quietly, disguised as laughter in a classroom, or a shared story over coffee after Sunday service. The truth is, companionship after 60 isn't about chasing what was lost. It's about opening your heart to what's still possible. Because the moment you begin to live again, to give, to learn, to show up, the world responds. People are drawn to authenticity, to kindness, to a man who's at peace with who he is, yet still curious about what's next. So wherever you are in your journey, don't think of love as something that passed you by. Think of it as something patiently waiting for you to notice it again in the most ordinary places, in the smallest gestures, in the gentlest moments. If today's message spoke to you, I'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe my channel, not just to support the channel, but to keep this little circle of honest conversations growing. Love doesn't fade with age, it just changes shape. And it's never too late to recognize it when it returns. This is Vernon. Thanks for watching my video till now, and see you next time.